Hi, and welcome to Bible Adventure. I'm Miss Rebecca.
And I'm Miss Michelle.
And we're going to tell you a story today about two guys, one named Ananias and one named Saul. And both of them needed God's help and his power to help them through some hard things. So sit back and enjoy the story.
When Jesus' friends told people about all the amazing things that Jesus did, more and more friends joined God's family. One of those friends was named Ananias. But the people who didn't like Jesus, they had a lot of friends too. And one of their friends was a man named Saul. He was very mean to Jesus' friends. He looked for ways to put them in jail. Ananias had heard about Saul, and he was on his way to his hometown to arrest Jesus' friends. They were all a little scared. He was so mean. So one day Ananias was sitting in his house when he heard Jesus' voice talking to him. And Jesus said, "Ananias." So Ananias said, "Yes, Lord." Then Jesus said something really surprising. He told Ananias to go to a certain house and ask for a man named Saul. Jesus said Ananias needed to help Saul. Saul, he was that mean guy. Maybe Jesus didn't know how mean he was. Ananias thought maybe he should tell him. So he said, "But Lord, I've heard about all the terrible things this man has done to your friends." But Jesus told him it would be okay and that he had surprising plans for Saul. Well, Ananias didn't know what to do. Jesus wanted him to do something really hard. Saul was so mean, and what if he put him in jail? Well, Ananias thought about it for a bit. Then he remembered that Jesus' power helps us do hard things.
Trust Jesus.
Jesus was more powerful than Saul, and if he told Ananias to go, then he could trust him to help him do it. So he started walking over to the house where Saul was. He knew Jesus' power was helping him to do this hard thing, but he was still a little scared. When he got there, he knocked on the door. Someone answered and took him to Saul. You know, he was nothing like Ananias imagined. He didn't look mean or scary. He was sad for all the mean things he had done to Jesus' friends.
When Ananias found Saul, Saul wasn't mean at all, but he was sad. He was sorry that he hadn't been nice in the past. He didn't know that Jesus really was God's son. He thought that he was doing all these things to help God by trying to stop Jesus' friends. That was until he met Jesus. Here's what happened. Some friends and Saul were walking on the road to go to another city. And then all of a sudden, a super bright light started shining on them. It was the brightest light they had ever seen. It was so bright that they fell down like this. Oh. Then they heard this voice say, "Saul, Saul, why are you trying to hurt me?" Saul said, "I had no idea who was talking to me." So he asked, "Who are you?" The voice answered, "I'm Jesus, and when you hurt my friends, you're hurting me." Jesus told Saul to go into the city and to wait for someone to tell him what to do. Saul stood back up and he couldn't see anything. Close your eyes for a second to see what that's like. He couldn't see anything at all. His friends had to take him by the hand and lead him into the city. You have some awesome leaders.
I think it's back to me.
Okay.
It was hard to be brave and do what Jesus said, but once Ananias got there, he knew God was with him and he didn't have anything to fear. So he went right up to Saul and he said, "Saul, Jesus who talked to you on the road sent me to pray for you so you could see again."
As soon as Ananias prayed for Saul, he could see again. And then he baptized him, making him a child of God and giving him strength. Now Saul was Jesus' friend too, and he wanted everyone to know that he wasn't mean like before. So he even asked people to call him Paul instead of Saul.
It was really hard to go see Saul or Paul, but Jesus' power helps us do hard things.
Trust Jesus.
Jesus helped Ananias to be brave.
And all Saul needed was Jesus' power to help him do all kinds of hard things. And you'll hear more about his story tomorrow.